What up? What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. Blood Splatter Chatter, some bonus blood here on the earliest show in the history of the channel. We're here 10 whoa, we fucking started pretty late. 10:14 a.m. here Central Time, 11:15 out there for my homies in New York. Talking Evil Dead 2 by Sam Raimi, starring Bruce Campbell. And I have the geeks with me. Spicy Red Thunder, Mr. Eric Walls, and Ashy Peter. What up, homies? What's cracking?
What's up?
How you doing?
That is not the energy we want, Eric. Come on.
I'm doing chill morning energy. It'll ramp up much like Ash's madness throughout this series.
Hey yo.
Now it starts pretty high though, doesn't it?
Yes, I started pretty high.
Hey.
Come on. Now we're gonna do this whole series. This is my plan to do with you two gentlemen. We did Evil Dead 1 back at the beginning of Horror Fest, I think November, late September. September. Now, part of the reason why we're doing this series, Eric Walls, my homie, Spicy Red Thunder, this is your favorite horror franchise of all time. And Peter had never seen any of them. So now you've seen Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2. And like I said, I plan, if you guys are down with it, I want to revisit this series every like 2 or 3 months, and we'll run through this bad boy. So Evil Dead 2, man, this one, I feel like it's the most popular of them all. Out of all the series, it's the one, this one and Army of Darkness are the ones that have all the biggest lines or the quotable moments. But like, this is where you get Ash, like as we kind of know him today, like the famous Bruce Campbell character. And I've kind of had a back and forth relationship with this one a little bit. I think the first time I saw it, I watched 1 and then I watched 2 like right after it. And there was something about that didn't jive with me, like how similar they were. I don't know, just like the tonal shift and everything. But going back, I feel like this might be my favorite one. I feel like in a way for what it is, like being the slapstick horror comedy that it is, it might be like it's damn near fucking perfect. If you're forgiving it for its lack of plot and traditional characters and everything that it doesn't have, what it does have is so unique, especially for the time period. Like he made this genre, this splat stick. I've heard people explain it or describe it as, which I like that. Love, right?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
There's a lot of that with
Three Stooges type comedy. But
Eric, what was the word you said? Wow, I'm blanking on the actor's name. Steve Campbell.
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell.
Excuse me. Hey, good morning, everyone.
He calls it a remake-quel.
Remake-quel.
Because it's like, the first, and this is why I think like I feel the same when I watch like Evil Dead 1. I'm like, oh, let me watch 2, and then I start watching 2 and it feels like a little bit weird because the first 7 minutes also is like a semi remake because they didn't have the rights to their movie, so they couldn't reuse footage for a flashback,
which was a very 80s thing to do. If you watch any of the Friday the 13th, they all start with like previously on Friday the 13th, and they show you some clips.
It's like videos are hard to get right now. You might
also audiences are stupid.
Yeah, right. But it's definitely like he called it a remake. And it's like apparently, I guess because he comes with like a different girl, like a different actress. Is not friends. Like, did Ash come back to the cabin? Like, what happened? And it's definitely like I can rewatch Evil Dead 2 and then do Army of Darkness right away because they flow into each other really well. They build on each other well. But like Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2, there's a tonal shift that I love, but like when you watch them back to back, like when we watched Evil Dead 1, like I was really shocked at like, oh, this is dour, like this is depressing. And then you go to this one, it's like very like it's like Ash like like it's all over the place. So it's definitely like a real tonal shift, but like I forgot how much I love this movie. Like visually, it's really Sam Raimi's. It's like have a higher budget, which you can see right away. Which in the first movie, when they cross the bridge, they're filming it kind of like it's like they're probably up in a tree filming it. And then this one, they have like a model going across a miniature.
I love that. I love that shot.
Yeah, it's like look at that budget, baby. Look at it.
Does miniature mean bigger budget?
I would assume so, yeah, because I gotta pay somebody to do. I would assume so. Even like the matte painting on that, like it looks like it was almost done in crayon. It doesn't look as good as a lot of matte paintings would look. But I don't know. I would assume they didn't have the budget for that. Or
in my mind, they would have needed like cheaper than like going to an actual bridge.
They made the first one with like a group of homies, and they probably didn't have a homie that could do the miniatures.
Yeah, you need
know
like a
what I mean?
professional or like someone who like, or you would have to have one friend that just built things in his basement.
Yeah, you need a miniatures guy in your entourage.
Yeah, yeah, you need a model train kid, like that type of dude. And they clearly had no model train kit friends.
So I'll go ahead. I'll skip you on this one, Eric, because I'll come back to you. I know you enjoy the movie, but really dying to know. And be honest with me, Peter. I can take it. I can take it. What did you think? Evil Dead 2, first time watch.
I enjoyed it. I liked it. I think better than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, Eric and I were talking like the entire time during the movie. This guy does not shut up. I mean, then again, neither do I. Neither do I.
Yeah, like I was at points consciously like I shouldn't talk. Then people be like, "Oh man, like what about our neighborhood?
Great impression of me.
Well, hey, can I do?
I have a beard. Oh.
Let me jump in and say this now, because this is what this was. I was thinking this last night when I was watching the movie, and I've seen this not only like quite a few times in my life, but like a lot of times in the past 4 years. I watched it. I did a show on this some years ago where I watched it twice. I've rewatched it just for fun since. I rewatched it when we did Evil 1 a few months back. So I just watched it again last night for probably like the 5th or 6th time in the past few years. And I found myself, first of all, highly entertained by it. Loved it from start to finish, but it did not keep my attention all the time. There were plenty of moments, because it is like gag after gag after gag after gag. You can just kind of lose interest. But what I was even thinking last night is like, this is a movie, if you kind of force yourself to stay focused, it never lets up. It's just something about it doesn't always grab your attention. Like
it is full throttle like all the time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like those long action scenes can take, I can lose focus during it if I'm not like fully invested. And also I was let go from work that day when Eric and I watched it. So I was a little distracted. I took a pretty strong edible for the movie. Eric and I hadn't seen each other in a while. We were catching up. As soon as the movie started, what were we talking about, Eric? The Punisher?
Well,
we were talking about the Punisher. We were talking about the Punisher and like Punisher Warzone and John Bernthal and like,
which, by the way, this guy right here looks so much like John Bernthal.
Yeah. Dead-eyed Ash kind of does.
Yeah, he's got that John Bernthal like caveman brow.
I don't think I know who John Bernthal is.
The Punisher from the Daredevil TV show,
the Netflix show. Yeah.
Oh, I have not yet seen. Are you talking about the brand new shit?
Also, the Netflix.
Yeah, it was also the Netflix one, and he got his own.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
He's in a bunch of stuff. He's a real bad guy.
Shane from Walking Dead.
Yeah,
Shane from Walking Dead.
There was a time, Verno, when you had a comic book podcast.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember that.
Once upon a time. So you enjoy? Do you remember? I'm trying to figure out, and we'll rate this at the end. But I think you gave the first one like either like a 3 out of 5 or like a 3.5 out of 5.
That sounds right. I would give this one. I'll save my score for the end. But I do
slow your rope, buddy.
I do like this one better than the first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, how was the rewatch for you then, Eric?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. Like Peter said, we were talking, we hadn't seen each other in a while. I was as sober as a priest when we watched it. But I was high off of the madness. I had a really good time. Just like I was like, oh yeah, because I think my fave is Army of Darkness. And then if we're including, also I love Ash vs. Evil Dead. It's like one of my favorite TV shows, I think. And yeah, I just think this one's like, I forgot how fun this one was. Yeah. And if you watch the Evil Dead episode, I was so emotionally affected by how dour the first movie was. I was like, this is why I love Evil Dead. This just like this silliness, like just bloody madness. Like it was very, very silly. Just like, and also Bruce Campbell's such a better actor in this than the first one. He's like,
and character too. Just
Yeah.
He was. I said it last time. He was a dweeb in the first one.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden he's super.
And not
cool.
a fun dweeb. Not a fun dweeb. It's just like, oh my god, get away from me.
What does a fun dweeb mean to you, Eric?
Like charming. Like, oh, but like Bruce Campbell was like the awkward. Was like, stop talking to me. You're so fucking weird. Like I don't want to talk to you. But no, I like you said, Ash really comes together in this movie, and like I think his character is cemented with the gear up scene, the chainsaw in the hand, and the groovy.
Right.
Like that's where that's Ash Williams right there. There he is, and he stays like that. And they really dive on that character in Army of Darkness, and I just had a great time with all this. All the practical effects were really fun. It was cheesy in all the ways that I like. The tree puppets, like
oh yeah,
just a good time. I had a really fun time with this.
Once
and I think it's a good movie to see with a friend and you talk throughout, because Sam Raimi's style is so visual. Like, sure, there's some great one-liners and everything, but it's just like, ooh, that's a good shot. Ooh, good cuts, good cuts, you know.
Once we got through the recap, so what do we time it, Eric? It was 7 minutes into the film.
Yeah.
I really like that first shot in the cabin where the camera's following Ash and he's running through all the different doors. He even breaks through one door very seamlessly. That like caught my attention immediately. It was really cool.
I love that too. Actually, I started writing down like just like great shots throughout the movie, just like things I wanted to remember. There's so many by the end of it. You're like, well, whatever. But that's definitely what, even before that, like he's backing up and the camera's like chasing the car. There's something super cool about that.
Yeah,
like,
I remember that
everything they do with I always think of it as like a Star Wars Episode 6 thing that they did on, what is it, Endor or whatever. You remember with like
Forest Moon of Endor? We never go to the actual planet of Endor, Verno.
That's hilarious. But yeah, you know what I mean. That scene where they're on the speeder bikes, and it's that I always think of that as Sam Raimi putting that scene in a horror movie. So plus the sound design, like it's so intense throughout the whole movie. The music really stood out to me on this watch.
You could tell this is like when Sam Raimi was like, oh, I'm a professional now. I'm not a guy like I'm not like a student making a film. I'm a professional. I like have learned a few tricks of the industry. And for me, like the first 7 minutes, like, oh, this is like, to make a Star Wars comparison, this is like the original trilogy special editions when George Lucas went back and had a higher budget and did some CGI tricks. It's like, oh yeah, he can do a stop motion girl dancing. And when he's like looking over the broken bridge with the matte painting, like over the hill, I'm like, this is a beautiful shot. And they could just not do that in the original.
I have speaking of the stop motion, why the girl who got her head cut off, why was her body so decomposed, but her head was perfectly fine?
Because Satan eats away at your body.
Oh,
how did it decompose so quickly too? She just got buried.
Yeah.
She was not taking care of herself.
I really wish there's something about it. Like, I really think I was like confused the first time I saw the movie. I thought it was like a complete like remake. I didn't even realize like, oh, they just like wrapped that up in the first 7 minutes. Bruce Campbell says, just skip that part when you watch the movie. You don't need to watch that shit. Just skip that. You know what's going on. But yeah, that part always kind of throws me off. Did you?
Yeah, if I didn't have Eric explaining that to me, I would have been very confused. Also, I kind of barely remember the first one at this point, or like it came back to me as we were watching too.
And in like the general series, like I feel like they ignore the first 7 minutes of this movie, because whenever Ash talks about going to the cabin, he doesn't say I went with just my girlfriend. He says I went with my girlfriend, my sister, and a few friends. Like so basically that doesn't exist in the continuity. It's just so weird.
Which bugs me. It's always bugged me. I really wish they just would have skipped it. But I kind of think like at the time it had they had made money off Evil Dead 1. I don't really know, but still a lot of people had not seen it. So that's kind of what they're going off of. Is like,
so they like took the opportunity to kind of remake it.
Right. Or just fill people in on what was going on. So I used to not think of it as an actual sequel. And I get what you're saying with it's a remake or whatever, but it's like it's a remake and then it is a sequel. It's just like an hour and 10-minute sequel.
I thought the remake part was a lot longer, but it's just 7 minutes. And yeah, I guess if you started the movie just Ash flying through the air, getting pushed by an evil force, you like, especially if you never saw the first one. Even if you saw the first one, you'd be like, what the hell is going on right now?
Well, if you watch them back to back, it makes a lot of sense.
If you, I mean, there's people that make the edit where they just put them together, and when he gets knocked back at the end of the first one, they just start it right there, which is probably the way to fucking watch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think, Peter, of the evolution of Bruce Campbell? I know you commented on it a little bit, Eric, but what did you think of him in this one? I know you don't remember the first one that well, but just his evolution.
Oh, I definitely saw the evolution and can see the fandom starting within me, because like I really only know Bruce Campbell from the small roles, the cameos he has in the other Sam Raimi films I've seen.
Right.
I've so much more acting chops in this one. It's really like just him for 80% of that movie, just screaming at a camera,
which is amazing. Like Thank God Sam Raimi had a friend like Bruce Campbell, or else we would have never seen these movies. You can't pull this off without him and a guy like him.
Yeah, he's carrying the entire thing.
Totally.
Oh yeah.
And Evil Ash, how does he look so much better than like every demon ever in film, in the fucking history of film? There's something about him I think is so badass, and even the way he walks and moves and contorts his face, he's so perfect for that role.
Yeah, he's a really, and one shot that like both me and Peter were like, wow, that's when he's looking himself, when he's talking like to himself in the mirror. Then he just jumps out and grabs him.
That was really good.
Oh, that's a good shot, man. That it just like visually, like you can see in the first Evil Dead, Sam Raimi has a very distinctive style that you can see be inspired by comic books and all this other stuff that he read growing up. But then this one is like doing Evil Dead, but he has a budget. He knows some tricks of the trade. He has some more experts, and it's just so fun. And I loved also like there's just so much going on in this movie. It's just one guy for most of it. You don't really see a movie like this.
Is it the first one? I'm pretty sure if I remember right, like in the first one, he reaches out and touches the mirror, and it's like liquid.
Yeah, he puts his hand through. He's like, ah!
Right. So that's what you think is gonna. I'm like, oh, they're just redoing that. But the way that they do it, you guys might know, but for anybody out there that doesn't know, they did just get like a double that was mimicking him in the mirror. So that when he reaches out, it's still kind of like it's just something about it. I wrote down like I was like, is there any scary moments in this movie? Because the first one, I remember saying like, I think it's like a fucking scary movie. Eric, I think you said the same thing.
I was spooked and sad.
Yeah. This one, I remember like going in thinking like, oh no, this one isn't scary at all. It's just it's pretty much pure comedy with gore. But I found there's a couple moments that I was like, oh, that it's like this mixture of like scariness mixed with like a psychedelic thing. I never think like you can't like explain psychedelic shit. I don't know. You can't like really, I can't articulate what the fuck I mean by that. But like,
you can feel it, man.
That scene, like anytime where it gets like awkward and quiet and weird, there's something about it that's just like psychedelic to me and scary and like very off-putting. But the laughing bit, where all the furniture and everything starts laughing, and then that mirror bit, there's something like really fucking eerie about that.
The mirror bit was probably my favorite part of the film. And then you reminded me about in the first one when he touches it. Do they make a reference to that in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness?
I can't
when he like traps Wanda in the mirror dimension.
Oh, Sam Raimi likes mirrors. I think I guess it is a reference, but yeah, no, for me it's like I think all the like the scary parts. It's kind of like when you watch like an old like animated movie from like the 80s where it's like it's just a fun time, and suddenly there's like 3 scenes where you're like, holy shit, that was horrifying. Right. And that's kind of what this movie is. It's not really a scary movie. It's a gory movie, but it's a very silly, I think, what'd you call it? Splat stick is perfect. Like, oh my God, there's so much blood in this at random times.
Oh my God. When there's that, basically like the scene from Fargo when Steve Buscemi is getting fed into the wood chipper. I can't remember which character it was, but he's going into the hatch, into the basement. And just like, so much blood comes out.
It's like the hillbilly dude, I think. And when that happened, I just whispered, "Here, you think he's okay?
I think he's gonna make it." Yeah, it's also like Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Him going into the wood chipper. I do love that because it's just like an absurd amount of blood.
So much
that comes gushing out.
But like he can fit. With the chain still on the hatch, he can fit in, but the mother could not come out.
Right.
Peter kept pointing that out. Like, this is a terrible chain jump.
Not enough logic in this film.
I'm glad you brought her up because I think that's another like the other most eerie part of the movie. First of all, when the mom shows up out of the cellar in the basement, she looks fucking crazy when she's all demonic version of herself, but she's even scarier when she's the normal version of herself, singing the lullaby. And that's another one where it gets really quiet and the camera pans down to her. There's something just fucking like really, really extremely eerie about that, but comical at the same time. It's so weird.
There's definitely a lot more of that stuff in Evil Dead 1 where it's like, oh no, we're fine. Help me. We're fine, Ash. Right. And that's like the first time they do it. And I was telling Peter, I was like, oh yeah, when I was a kid, I was just like, kill them. Just kill them. It's not real. But if I was an adult, I'd be like, okay, mistake. You know, it's like real psychological. Yeah.
Now that he knows love.
His girlfriend, when she's got her head cut off and she's in the vice, and then she turns to, she's like, Ash, don't kill me. That's great too. Like,
did they redo that scene? Like, was that
was definitely a scene that they did in the first
Eric,
one,
Eric
or
and I were talking
similar.
about that, where like the
Or
head
I
is
think
in the
she
tool
was-
shed, the head is in the vice.
I think she was chained up in the tool shed. Maybe not her head. I can't, but I know like she was in the tool shed, like tied down and was like trying to convince Ash.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
I can't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
It's
I love
hard to-
the chalk outline around where the chainsaw is supposed to be. To me, that's the most like cartoony bit of the whole movie.
It feels like a
fucking
video
love.
game, like you're going to get an item, but someone else already got it, like in
Right.
an online video game. You're like, ah, shit.
It's not unlocked yet.
No, but
there-
Henrietta, did you know it's Ted Raimi, Sam Raimi's brother, in that suit the whole time? Yeah, and that's apparently Sam Raimi put him in that suit, and that's what got him in the Actors Guild.
That's hilarious.
And there's
Is that the same brother as the? I know it's his brother at the end of the movie. That's in the night suit.
oh,
That says,
maybe
hail, hail, the man
Oh.
from the sky, hail. Like that.
I know-
that's his brother too.
I know he collabs with Ted Raimi a lot. I don't know if he has multiple brothers. But apparently there's one shot I forgot to look at it where it's happening when they're in the basement and you can see there's a hole in the legs. Oh hey, there's a hole. There's a hole in the leg and there's like sweat just coming out, like just like it's a faucet because he was just in that thing for so long in like musty heat.
Oh, that's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
What up,
Got him in
Christina?
a union. Got him in a union.
The other thing I wanted to mention, just about like on the horror side of things, the jump scares. Like I think there's quite a few like really effective jump scares in there. Like there's two things that I really like. I like as far as like the writing goes, they quickly introduce. We leave the cabin and they introduce like the doctor's daughter or whatever, the other cast that we get. You kind of forget about them, but when they show back up is right after the laughing scene. And everything's fucking crazy and everything quiets down. And then the dude like jumps through the door. That is a really good jump scare. There's a couple other times when this guy I've got a mirror around, but not Ash, the other guy, when he first becomes a demon out of fucking nowhere and he pops up, like there's a few like that where someone's standing there and a character just pops up next to him. And all those get me like almost every time to a degree. Because they're like
those
sudden.
That dude's teeth, like rows of teeth within him. I don't know why. Just like maybe it's because of all the shark documentaries I watch. When I see like multiple rows of teeth, I'm like, oh fuck, you're doomed. It just really gets me.
You gotta love AI art. Then it's got to freak you out because that's what you get.
No.
It looks
for
like
so
AI.
so many reasons I don't like AI art. The teeth being one of them.
I was gonna ask you guys about the new cast. Like I wrote it down. Then as the movie went, I'm like they didn't really add anything. Nobody was bad. I like the hillbilly guy, the daughter.
Yeah.
She's cool, but there's not really anything there for.
I mean, like I was like, oh, I forgot there's a scene on a plane landing this whole time. Like I think it's just like, oh, it's a horror movie. We got to kill some people, but most of the movie, like we said, 80% of the movie is Ash alone, and I think they introduced some key lore about the book, that she's the daughter of the guy who owns the cabin and originally researched it. I think because they find pages like in a different country, it establishes that there's multiple books, which is like a big thing throughout the series. But it's pretty superfluous, honestly, for this movie. And it's also what I realized.
There's like Google superfluous now. What the fuck that man?
Oh, that would be a frivolous errand.
All right, frivolous.
But there's the scene like where the professor's daughter and Ash are like holding each other's tight. And I was like, oh, this is actually probably the sweetest Ash in a way, because Army of Darkness forward Ash would be like, all right, let's make a move right now.
Yeah.
Like he's a horn dog. I was like, kind of like, oh, they're gonna kiss. Both their partners just died tonight. They're gonna kiss. It's typical.
They have so
80s
much
movie.
in common.
Yeah, they got a lot to talk about, but no, like they just are terrified to cover each other. I'm like, oh. And then when Ash goes back in time, it's like, let me try to get in everyone's pants here.
Yeah. I love the time traveling aspect of it. When they go back in the book and they're like, oh, this is the legend from the 1300s. Shit like that is always really cool to me. Anytime you can mix in time traveling and shit like that. And I guarantee you there's no one that went to this movie at the beginning that thought that they were going to end up back in the 1300s and there was
Yeah.
going to be
Oh,
time
definitely.
traveling. Peter, did you know you had an idea? Like you had heard this when we talked about it?
I remember
before?
Eric. Yeah, when last when we did this, Eric was saying about the time traveling one, but that seemed to me like if I did remember that, I was like, oh, that seems like more of like a movie 4 or 5 type of thing.
Yeah.
Like you know, like Lost season
Yeah.
4, they introduced time travel.
Season 5, they
Excuse
introduced time
me.
travel.
Which I love. One of my favorite seasons.
I love that season.
Lost a lot of people. Waka waka. But that's when I really got into it more.
I love Lost. I might
But
watch
yeah,
it
it was great foreshadowing for the time travel at the end.
Yeah.
Did not see it coming.
Hell.
Yeah. I really thought, you know, when they're reading the book and it's like a chosen one will rise 1300 years ago, and it's a dude with a chainsaw hand putting his fists up. I'm just thinking, is no one going to bring up the fact that's a chainsaw? You know, like I understand if they're not thinking, oh, it's Ash because you're going to get a chainsaw hand in about 20 minutes. But no one's going to, like, I look at that and just be like, is that a chainsaw in the 1300s? I'm not a historian. Can someone look up the history of the chainsaw? Do we have an encyclopedia here? Like,
right. There's no Google handy in 1988, unfortunately.
Do we have an Encyclopedia Brown around?
I guess, I mean, maybe I'll find this out when we watch the third one, but like, do they care about fuel consumption with that chainsaw in the
That's
1300s?
a good point. That's a good point.
I had many issues with the chainsaw hand.
That's
yeah, Peter. I love watching shit with Peter because, you know, I'm kind of someone I watch and I just accept logic as it goes unless they, you know, clearly establish a rule then break it. But Peter, it's really funny what gets him. Peter, it's so
I'm all about
selective
practicality.
and it's so selective when we're watching a movie with demons that take over bodies and they're from a book and Peter's like, okay, this trap door doesn't make any sense.
It just make the chain tighter so they can't like fully open it. But also like, so when he first introduces the chainsaw hand, he's got the little, I don't even, what the part you pull that, I am not manly enough to know the different parts.
The pull string.
The pull string. Sure. There we go.
He does
teeth.
I don't think you could do that with your teeth. There's no fucking way. Your teeth.
It was very smart.
Maybe if you're a beta, you can't do it.
It was very smart that they put that little latch on his like shoulder so he could rev it himself. But he also has a free hand. I don't know. I can't remember what my biggest complaint was at the time. Do you remember, Eric?
Constantly, whenever he revved it. First, you're like, is he gonna have it attached the whole time? Because wouldn't it mess with it? I was like, I think it would do nothing. But then anytime you revved it like that, which I always thought was a cool visual, because I said, oh, he has that so he can hold the boomstick in his other hand. And then Peter, every time he revved it, Peter would just be, he has a hand free. His hand is free right now. Why is he just use his hand? Because he doesn't have to. He went through the trouble of putting that on. He's gonna utilize it so he doesn't feel stupid to himself.
My other question was like, and I do not know the answer, if an engine is running and you pull that cord again, does that do anything to the engine?
I think it's fine. I think it's fine.
See, I know nothing.
It's like driving a car and turning the key. I don't think it's gonna help. I don't think it's gonna make the fucking chain go. You know what I mean? I'll be honest with you. I never even noticed what you guys are talking about. That he has it like the cord in his free hand. I always just assumed it was like a phantom hand, like his. I don't know. That he just.
I mean, maybe they take it out in future movies. But when there's the whole suit up scene, which was awesome. There's like like right here on his shoulder is like a little like, I guess like a fork, and then they put the handle of the pull cord right there, so that when he stretches his arm out, it revs the engine.
Okay, I never put that together.
But then I was like, okay, so then does he like pull it out once it's on? Because then every time he extends his arm, it's going to pull it.
That's so funny. I'm really looking forward to seeing now the next one. First of all, just to watch it with you guys, and this. Now I got to study it. I got to study how this chainsaw works.
I'm gonna have a lot of questions.
Now, and I guess we'll get into it. Yeah, but we'll go ahead and rate this bad boy in just a few moments. I did just want to mention, like, Army of Darkness. It's your favorite, you said, right, Eric? Right?
Yeah, probably the TV show is my favorite, but movie-wise, yeah.
And it's a lot of people's favorite. It's my buddy Dylan's favorite. Like, a lot of people just love the shit out of it, and I do think it's definitely one if you grew up with it. Because it's a movie that a lot of people like, oh, we're getting away with watching this kind of adult movie because it's not really that bad. It's not that there's not nearly the amount of gore and blood and practical effects. There's not even like, correct me if I'm wrong, Eric. There's not like demons like we see in these movies. There's a bunch of deadites, skeleton demons. It's like a skeleton army, kind of like a superhero type movie in a way, where there's this mass army if you could just wipe them away.
It's very Jason the Argonauts. Yeah, it's more than like possessed people.
I've never been able to get into the movie. I've watched it like 3 or 4 times. By the end of the movie, I'm always just kind of checked out. So I'm gonna buckle down. Whenever we do it, I'm gonna try and go through it again. But I'm really, what I was gonna say is I'm really looking forward to getting past that one, and Peter to show you Evil Dead 2013 and see what you think.
I'm not excited for that one. Oh.
Because it's just like, it's a more grounded thing. They add some themes to it. The lead character's a drug addict. She's going out to a cabin to get away from the world and drugs and shit like that. And it's just like, but it's all the gore, but it's a little bit more, a lot more believable.
Peter, like, Peter knows my friend Kyle, who's like obsessed with horror movies. Whenever
Shout
I
out
think
to
about
Kyle.
Evil Dead, shout out to Kyle.
Son of a bitch.
Whenever I think about that movie, I think I was at a diner after I did like a play in high school, and him and all of his friends who, like, when I had sleepovers with them, I'd be like, let's watch a horror movie. I'm like, no, but then we have to watch it. So just like watch so many fucking horror movies. And I saw them on the table. I was like, hey guys, and they were all just like shell shocked. we just saw Evil Dead. I was like, what? There's a scene where a woman licks a knife and her tongue splits open. I was like, oh, I don't want to see this movie ever. And I love Evil Dead. So it's like a pretty scary movie.
It's intense too, but it's badass. I think there's a lot of people, like, the younger generation, people that didn't grow up with these movies, that they like, hands down, like, it's by far and away the best one of the franchise. So that's what I'm looking forward to see, is kind of your perspective on it, Peter.
I'm very excited to see the next one's Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I mean, Eric's review of it seems like I would like it, and also just the way Evil Dead 2 ended, I was like, okay, I can kind of see the direction the next movie would go in, and that really seems like my speed.
Right, and it's different. It's bigger. It's a much bigger movie.
What year did it come out?
Low budget, so it feels like a play in some cases. It came out in 1990, I think.
Right around there, if not there. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
I'm very excited to watch it with Peter, because I'm very excited what things he'll be like, this doesn't make sense. What?
1992.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good
year. Good year.
Let us go ahead and I think that's all I really have on this thing, man. It's a great movie, but it's one of those. It's not like, I knew we weren't going to squeeze an hour out of this conversation.
It's a pretty simple movie.
It's kind of hard to do, unless we go through like, hey, how about this other moment? And there was this other moment that was badass. Yeah. Like I actually, how about the tree sexual assault scene?
Oh yeah, they did that again.
They did it again. Yeah. They do it in almost every movie. But Sam Raimi he's been quoted as saying, like, it's the thing that he really regrets about the first film. They went too far with that. It's like, why do you keep doing it in every movie?
His foot fetish.
Was this was this one like? Please correct me if I'm wrong, but was it an assault as well, or did they just grab her down and then kill her? Because it wasn't as sexual.
Right. No,
as
it was not. It was not as bad as the first one, but it was certainly like hey, remember this from the first one?
I think it's just implied. Like they kind of do that off screen.
I mean, another thing. She's like bound like that, and it's
when they're pulling her through the woods. There's something really, really cool. The edits. That's the other thing that I just at least wanted to mention. Yeah, I really think it's like very innovative, right? Like even like the suit up scene.
He's yawning.
Like, oh shit! We're at the 34-minute. We didn't even get to 50 minutes, Eric.
I was up late last night.
So was I.
It is Sunday morning. I'll give it to you. Come on.
It's the Lord's Day, and we're talking about demons.
I wonder. I always think of that. I don't know if I'm right. Anybody in the chat, if you guys can tell me I'm wrong, or please tell me I'm right. I prefer that. Like, did he kind of invent, if lack of a better word, like that type of edit, that quick cut, like Shaun of the Dead? Like, I think Shaun of the Dead, Edgar Wright, is being like an evolved version of this, where it's like bam, bam, this really quick montage. That's like, you know what I mean? I feel like
I don't know if he was the start of it, but like watching it, I was like, there's so much novelty to this film style, edit especially. Excuse me.
If I could be a film douche for a second, I think it was very like old Russian film would have a lot of Russian film would have a lot of, like, back in the day, like in the black and white era, a lot of like quick cuts to shots that really had no relation to each other. They do this kind of experimental thing.
Hmm.
Like I remember watching one where it's like a ballroom dance and then cut to like a peacock and then cut back and like do these quick shots. So it's like a very Russian film inspired. There's a thing in Russian film called the Kuleshov effect, which
Ooh.
it's also like no, but it has like it's also in film. And I remember like when I was in college and a total film douche, like just being stoned watching movies, being like, oh, because every shot has a value. The shot in of itself and its relation to the other shots it flows into. So I think it's very like it could be like one of the first times it was done like in a mainstream American movie, but like the quick shots to like especially like when it feels very kinetic is definitely like something that's been around in film for a very long time.
No, that's dope too. But you could also say like Hitchcock. Just if you're gonna go film stop, I'll go film stop. But like
but mine was foreign, so I'm a bit more refined.
The montage in Psycho is like thought of as being like an early bit like the shower scene, and I never used to think of that as a montage. In my head, a montage was just like the 80s montage. We're cleaning up the house and we got this fun song going.
You can never.
But there's something like about like maybe like the sound design is used with this edit. Like that's something that Edgar Wright utilizes too. That's like I don't know, something unique to this. Like
I see what you mean. Edgar Wright certainly got inspiration from these films, especially for Shaun of the Dead. And like at this around this time period, I feel like everything was just long takes, not many quick cuts. So
especially for like Friday the 13th horror movies and stuff, like it's a lot slower, a lot more gradual. But I feel like it's also, Sam Raimi was like a true comic book nerd, reading Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby's stuff, and you can kind of feel that in the like you can kind of feel like when you're a kid just looking at panels, not reading the massive amounts of dialogue that were in comics in the 60s.
Right.
Just
you're filling in, your brain is filling in the gaps.
Or
exactly.
Even Bruce Campbell, like the way he is in this one, he is like a comic book hero. He has the iconic look and everything. And if you look at like where film, I'm trying to think, is Evil Dead 1981 the first one or 82? Anyway, either way, where film and horror were in 81 to 88 is a massive leap. I really think Evil Dead 1 is a big part of that, like making that leap, honestly, because it doesn't feel like a 70s movie. Yeah. And it doesn't feel like where we're at in 88. It's kind of the bridge in a lot of ways.
As a self-described non-film douche or film non-douche, let's go with that one. I agree with that. I just wanted to say that sentence. Also, I thought of another logic question I had during this movie.
Oh, please.
When he cuts off his hand and his hand starts, animating itself, and it's what's it from the Addams Family thing? Yeah. So the hands on it on the back on the floor, it's belly up. And I was asking Eric, I was like, do you think a hand could be able to flip itself over, or is it like a turtle? It's stuck on its back.
I really thought about it too.
We had a long
I'm thinking about it quite a bit.
And then he puts the bucket over it, then starts crawling away. It's like, how did it flip over? I was like, oh, maybe it grew like another finger on the back, like a tripod.
A
kickstand.
That's funny.
We had a discussion about the professor's daughter. She's dressed exactly like I'm blanking on her
Professor
name.
Grant.
Professor Grant.
She's just more like Sam
Jurassic
Neill
Park.
From Jurassic Park.
Yeah, she has a Jurassic Park look.
This predates Jurassic Park.
I was like, this is like
the ass got around the neck.
every bisexual in the fall. Like this is how they dress.
And then everyone at different moments was laying on the couch as like similar to Jeff Goldblum when he's like laying on the table, shirt open.
In this movie?
Yeah, we had a lot of similarities to Jurassic Park.
That's hilarious. I must have missed that.
Which is an amazing movie.
You reminded me of another one, like the one moment that I remember laughing out loud, like significantly, and I think it gets me every goddamn time, is when the hand gets caught in the mousetrap. And just Bruce Campbell goes, "Aha!" Or it's just like the way he laughs at that. There's something hysterical about that.
Speaking of logic things. Oh, sorry. The logic when we went in the basement and there's a bunch of pipes. it was for me. I went, there's no way this remote cabin has this much plumbing going on. It has one sink and maybe a toilet.
It's a remote cabin in the mountains. Like where?
I'm pretty sure it has an outhouse. Yeah, I was like, this many pipes? This is like 40 pipes.
That's hysterical. Also, down in the basement, little fun fact before we wrap this bitch up and rate this thing. There's a Freddy Krueger glove. Did you guys notice that?
No, that's fun.
Yeah,
that's fun.
What is it? What is the the flow of things. I think in the original Evil Dead, there's a Hills Have Eyes poster in the basement because Sam Raimi is a fan of that movie. He's a fan of Wes Craven, and then Wes Craven. Oh, I'm really struggling to think of what it is. He makes some nod in between that film and this film. You nerds out there are gonna get mad at me because I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
But he makes some nod to Evil Dead 1, and then Sam Raimi comes back with another nod in this one.
That's fun.
And then
It is fun.
I think it's Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Hell. The Necronomicon shows up to the point the director of that movie believed that Jason's a Deadite. That's
100%.
like his view, which is up like that's crazy.
That's the lore.
know?
That is like
Yeah.
the official. First of all, I'm pretty sure like the Necronomicon, Sam Raimi didn't like invent that name. It's like
Yeah, that's the
old,
thing.
right? Book of the Dead.
Yeah.
It's a thing. But yeah, in Jason Goes to Hell, he like that is the lore. That's the official like lore is that Jason was brought back from his mother using the Necronomicon, and he is in fact a Deadite. True.
I'm
story.
gonna go
Yeah.
one further and say Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness is a continuation of this.
I would.
They're dealing with the Darkhold, that old book.
I'd be tempted to throw that movie in this series with you guys. I was thinking about it yesterday.
I'm heavily
could wrap-
considering rewatching it soon, just
Me
because it's going to have so many similarities to Evil Dead.
The makeup
After we-
that we do on Strange is basically the Bruce Campbell look that you get down there. It's like,
Yeah.
the same makeup.
And then when Wanda's going through like all those like blast doors when they're also in the basement. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, then the music fight felt very Evil Dead-y in a way, like
Right.
where they're doing like the music notes. When we finished watching, I actually was like, should we watch Doctor Strange? And then we both were like, we're too tired to watch a whole movie, and then we watched
So-
The Simpsons instead.
We watched
you
Who
go.
Shot Mr. Burns Part 1 and 2.
That's so good.
It's a good time.
All right.
And I changed the aspect ratio for Peter, which blew
I had
his
no
mind.
idea you could change the aspect ratio on The Simpsons in Disney Plus. Eric changed my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
'cause
just
it's-
changed my life.
It's like widescreen zoomed in, but you can go into settings in.
Tell
like, The
everyone how to
Simpsons.
do it.
So you go to settings on the episode thing, then you go to the sidebar that's like settings, and you can do original aspect ratio. Just and it goes for
change
every
the-
episode.
Interesting. What's it
Yeah.
do? It makes it more like square like?
Yeah.
It makes it
4 by
square like
3.
the original broadcast.
So you don't get like it's not like zoomed in, and you don't like specifically the Duff Zero moment that Eric mentioned.
like-
Sorry, you mentioned when we were together, not on the
Yeah, I didn't mention it here. I don't know why you're saying like a callback. No, when we do the Duff Brewery tour, there's like a bit. It's like, oh, we have Duff and then Duff Light, the diet, and it just shows a vat. And it's the same beer going into both canisters, but
That's
in the
funny.
but then in the like
when it's cropped.
widescreen, it's cropped. You don't see that, so that visual gag is ruined. It's just like, oh, okay, they have
Huh.
two beers.
That's funny. I know Max
Yeah.
does that a lot. Like I'll watch a movie. I mean, all the streaming services do. They mess
Yeah.
with the aspect ratio.
I'm very anal about aspect ratios.
I'm very anal about anal, but we don't have time for that. Let's move on. All right, let's go ahead and rate this bitch. Wrap this thing. We'll begin with you, Mr. Walls. Eric, Spicy Red. What do you give it out of 5? What do you give it out of 2?
I feel like I always like am hesitant to give things perfect scores, but like for this, I forgot how much fun I have with this one. I think I haven't watched it in a long time, so I'm probably gonna give it a 5. Honestly, if you're
Oh,
looking for
yeah.
like, I think like you said, I think Splatstick's the perfect name for it. I think Bruce Campbell really carries himself as a leading B movie man in this one. He's like I think the mousetrap, the ha, like he's just delivering on all these cheesy moments that a actor who doesn't realize what kind of movies he's in would just falter on. I think it's
Right.
such good fun.
It's
And
kind of one of
then
those like he is the movie. Like the tone of the movie is him. Like he
Yeah.
makes, you know what I mean? If someone else did it, it's a completely different movie.
Yeah,
Jim
it's
Carrey
really-
would have crushed it. But other
Oh
than that-
yeah, but it would have been a different movie,
Right.
Like, you know, it's like how The Mask was originally going to be a dark comedy like this movie, but then Jim Carrey was so funny they just kind of made it a full blown comedy.
right.
That's one of
Somebody
my favorite
stop him.
movies. Some.
So all right, a 5 from Spicy Red. I love it. Ashy Pete. What do you give it Evil Dead 2, my friend?
Did I give Evil Dead 1 a 3 out of 5?
I think it might have been as low as a 3.
Okay.
If
Yeah.
not,
You
at the highest, it was a 3.5, but I feel like 3.
All right,
Yeah.
then I'm gonna give Evil Dead 2 a 3.75 out of 5.
Bruh.
Oh
All
my
right.
god, being so technical.
I
Just
like it.
because I like it better than the first one. It's still not like my type of movie. I
Yeah.
would have liked. For me, I mean, maybe it was in the moment I was in, but just like it was a lot of just like yelling and action, and I wanted more story, I guess.
Right.
Like I'm really excited for Army of Darkness.
You wanted more movie in your movie.
Yes.
I think you want more movie or more milligrams in his edible, like one or the other.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or the person next to me to shut the hell up.
Peter, I was conscious of I like this movie. I'm not gonna talk. You started the conversations a lot.
It was 50-50.
I'm very aware when I talk a lot throughout a movie, and it was not this time. It takes two to tango this time, my friend.
All right. So a 5 from Spicy Red. Ashy Pete, give it a 3.75. I went back and forth on it. This is my experience with the movie last night. I kept on being like, this is fucking perfect. Like, this is perfect. And then it would lose my attention. I'm like, well, okay. I mean, I guess it's not that perfect. But like I said, I've seen it so many times. I'm not going to give it a 5 either. I'm going to give it a 4.75 because what it's doing, it's 1988. And I don't know if anyone's ever done what it does better since. Point. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, no one's ever been able to redo this in all of its aspects.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm holding it to the standard of like all movies in my brain right
which
now.
Is cool. I mean, rate how you feel comfortable rating.
Yeah.
But
also, it's kind of
I get it too. I also do get it.
It's kind of cool, like how we were talking about like Evil Dead 1 and how we really went into the pacing of that movie and how it was so unconventional. And in that case, I think it was kind of a slow pace, just like 30 minutes of them doing really nothing. But this one has like, there's the hero's journey, which is the traditional pacing and structure of movies today, like since Star Wars came out. And this one just it does not feel like it follows that at all. It feels like it has its own pacing, but a much more frenetic kind of all over the place, like a bunch of bloody sketches done together. Like if this was like a sketch show they used to do in college, if they started like, oh, we used to do these bits in college on like open mic nights, I wouldn't have been shocked, And it's just fun to have a movie that, even if it doesn't click with you every moment, it's just like, I like that this has a unique pace, it marches by the toot of its own drum.
It's almost like its strength is its weakness. Like the strength is how frenetic it is and all the gags, but it's almost overload by the end of it. But it's also, it's only an hour and 26 minutes. So they kind of know that, and they get in and get the fuck out, and they get it done. And there's just enough. Like you said, there's just enough of Ash's arc, the callback to the previous one with the necklace and Ash having his moment. You know what I mean? There's just enough for there to be a semblance of a story and an arc there that makes it work.
Yeah.
So hell's 4.75 from me, a 5 from Spicy Red, a 3.75 from Ashy Pete, and I don't have my thumbnail set for next week. Let me see. Hold on. Never mind. I was hoping I just had the movie. I was thinking I had just had the movie behind me. On Thursday, new time. This is the new time for the Thursday shows is 1:30 Central Time. No, excuse me. 12:30 Central Time, 1:30 Eastern Time. That's every Thursday. That is when we're doing those shows. And this week, I'll be with the homies Stu and Missing Link talking about what the fuck are these movies called? The Grindhouse double feature by Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino. I've never seen either of these movies somehow. Death Proof and Planet Terror. So very, very. Have you guys seen these movies?
No, I caught them like late at night on like HBO when I was a teen. That's it.
That's a great story, bro.
I'm hoping they're good. I hear good things about it. It's weird because it's like it's a Tarantino. One of them's a Tarantino movie. He says it's his worst one, but he also says it's pretty fucking dope. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Also, sometimes Tarantino as a critic, even when he's talking about like other movies, I just don't trust him.
Yeah, I can see that. Depends on how
I'm not gonna watch Dune because they already made Dune in the 80s. Like I'm not gonna watch this new version.
Okay. Yeah. He's so fucking much. He's so Tarantino every second.
It's like, wow, you have such opinions, bro. Look, it seems like a guy really trying to, every time he talks about movies, it seems like he's trying to impress a girl to be like, oh, I watch movies. And I have unique opinions that I didn't get from the internet.
He is like that original. He does a podcast too, and he's like the original fucking film snob podcast. Oh, wow. I don't know.
Yeah.
But all right, you guys have anything you want to say as we get about this bitch? Anything you want to promote? Anything you just want to fucking got any hidden talents we don't know about?
Groovy.
I think it's groovy. I think it's cool that like this series, and when I said to Vera when it finished, it's like it's just cool that it's like that, like movies today, like the MCU, for instance, they figure out a tone, they just keep that tone despite it being a bunch of different characters. This series changes all over the place. It's when they announced a new Evil Dead thing, like when Evil Dead Rise, when they first said they're making a new Evil Dead movie, I was like, okay, is it going to be like Evil Dead 2013? Is it going to be like Ash vs. Evil Dead? It's so cool that it's a series that's so eclectic. You really don't know what you're going to get when you go in, you know? And I think it's kind of a shame that other series don't get to be more all over the place tonally. And I think that's what makes Evil Dead so cool. And if you want like a movie series that is a different feel every time, Evil Dead is definitely a good place to look for that.
Hell yeah.
I agree with that.
Beautiful. Well said. Appreciate all you guys in the chat. Appreciate you guys, Eric and Peter. And we'll see you on Thursday.